Hello and welcome to IOI Monthly, Episode 2. My name is Travis, I'm your community manager, and I'm joined by Andreas, our lead game designer.
Hello.
Maybe we should start, Andreas, by giving you a chance to explain who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Andreas. I'm the lead game designer on Hitman, and have been for throughout the Hitman 2 production time. I was on stream half a year ago, approximately.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, second time back.
Also Reddit AMA, you were
also
heavily
Reddit
involved
AMA, yes,
alongside
true.
Jakob as well.
Yes.
We had a good time doing that,
fun.
the three of us. So IOI Monthly is our new live streaming format where we go behind the scenes at the studio. We bring in developers to talk about the things that are going into the game very shortly, the things that are a little bit further on the horizon. We've got a lot to go through today, but one thing we want to call out straight away is that we've been asking for questions. We did that on the blog, and I hope that on Twitch and Mixer you can throw your questions our way as well. We'll be collecting them all together, and we will have a section specifically for questions so we can sit down. Well, not that we're going to get up, but we're going to stay sat down. We're going to check out the questions, we're going to go through them, give some answers, and hopefully that will mean that we have some answers for you that are not kind of here and there and we kind of jump between the answers while something else is happening. We've got question time, specific question time. That's one thing that we're going to aim for. So I think the best place to kick off is kind of to loop back to where we were last month. We had our first episode and Bjarne was in maybe that chair or this chair. We were talking about Hand to Port, which was the first major drop we had for the expansion pass. In Singapore. Have you played Hand to Port?
Yeah, of course I think Hand to Port is obviously the best sniper map because I was part of winning the internal duo championship.
Multiplayer champion.
Multiplayer championship.
Who was your partner in crime?
I was with Klaus, my fellow game designer.
Yeah, okay. Right. So you two took home the prize?
It was a bit easy.
Yeah?
Maybe a bit too easy. That was,
why is that?
Because there wasn't a lot of other participants.
Okay. So champions of 5 or however many
something
it was.
like that.
Okay.
I can't remember actually.
But we did that for Himmelstein as well, I remember.
Yes,
there was an internal competition for, again, single player and multiplayer. And I think it was QA that won the multiplayer. No, it wasn't actually.
Who won?
It was actually, it was Mattis. And
he won the single player at least, right?
But he won the multiplayer as well.
Oh, okay.
With,
he was good.
I think, Stefania, I want to say.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a fun thing that we do. And it is a trophy, right? It's the collector's edition statue, altered, painted gold or something.
Klaus got it, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. So you won the competition but didn't get the trophy.
Klaus actually also won the single player one, so yeah.
Okay, there's a theme there. There's a theme. So we went through, I don't know if you saw the stream, we went through a whole bunch of kind of in-progress shots from way back in the early stages of development through to, I think it was actually this shot here with the Hand to Port, how it landed, how it released, and it's kind of scary to think it's been out a month already. So that's in the expansion pass right now, and there's more to come in the expansion pass. We'll get to that a little bit later on. I think one cool thing we could do is just kind of go through the month almost chronologically. It wasn't the busiest month. Of course, there was content. We'll get to that. But we did put out Hitman Blood Money and Hitman Absolution came onto Good Old Games. So if you shop there, then you've got 2 new Hitman options. I don't. I'm a console dude, so I'm playing the HD enhanced collection or whatever we ended up calling it. But I know
there's some good games.
I know there's some good games there, and there's a specific audience that prefer to be there. So if you're in the market for that, then check that out. And we talked about Hitman content. This is why we're here, right?
Yes.
So let's start with what was happening last month. We had a whole month of content in April that landed, that everyone can see here, from the big news, which was Ghost Mode coming to the jungle in Santa Fortuna. That's really cool. First new location we've had since launch, as well as a bunch of other things. Unlockables and elusive targets, featured contracts, escalation contracts, and the last one just went out, was it last week? I'm looking at you, Clemens. It was on Thursday. The Nolan Disinfection came out last Thursday, which leaves us with one thing left, which of course is the game update. But I think it's really interesting to say that while we have people who are, we're hoping that they'll have questions for us, if they've got questions for you, as the game designer.
Definitely shoot them.
That includes things like unlockable items. Maybe there's other things.
What they can do, why they're there, and
exactly
like
right. Pretty much what you do in the game.
Yes.
So it's a very broad spectrum of things that people could ask you about.
Yeah.
Slightly different to the questions we had for Bjarne, which were more level design.
Yes.
And it's a very different discipline.
These questions can be very broad throughout the game, and probably more centered towards the core design of the game and what you can do in the game as in general on all levels. And what maybe there's specific item unlock questions about why is this in the portfolio of items, or why can you do this and this in the game and why can't you, and whatnot. Yeah,
perfect. So if there's any questions like that, get them in. Andreas is the man that can answer them. As we hopefully you'll have an answer.
Yes.
We also have some questions that we saw on Twitter or Reddit, on Hitman forum. We've collected some of those. I'm rubbing my paper if you can't see. We'll go through those as well as the ones that people throw at us on stream to make sure that we capture everything. And also, so this time, if there's questions that come up based on what you say or don't say, then we can handle that and talk about that as well. So we had the April roadmap. And the last thing, as I said, is the game update, which is obviously dropping tomorrow, which is a big thing. So we have the release notes prepared. That's them here. Game update 2.21 is coming out tomorrow. And just the boring stuff first. Yes. So it comes with server maintenance.
That is exciting.
I know, yes. Not for the release team, they're super excited. So we have server maintenance dropping at 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. UTC, which is roughly lunchtime Europe. And the update's going to be about just over a gigabyte on PC and 1.7 on console, so roughly the same. And that will drop somewhere in the middle of the maintenance period. So tomorrow, the Hitman 2 servers will be down as we drop out the update. And the big update is Ghost Mode, Santa Fortuna. So I think we should start there and give some more insight, more details about some of the items that are coming, some of the new things that are happening.
Yes.
And some of the details people can already see. We started doing monthly roadmap trailers with Clemens, who's so happy to show you his work. That we can run that as we get there. But we've also got the items to talk about. So if you run the awesome trailer, Clemens, just over the top of that, then we will talk about what's being added. So in Santa Fortuna and in Miami, we've added emotes.
Emotes, yes.
Emotes. So 47 can now emote at any point during Ghost Mode. Maybe you can talk about the way that players can select their emotes out of the inventories.
I think I saw a post where the first time we like teased it, I think, where I think I saw a post about we Fortnite now, but it's not actually, it's not about that. Like one of the first thing when we tried playing Ghost Mode and we stood beside each other waiting for the correct moment to kill this target was like we could just stand and look at each other, like we could teabag, but like that's not really a good communication process.
No.
So we really wanted a way just to say hi or like did we show them emotes yet?
Yeah, so the emotes we've got, let me tell you, just so you know which ones exactly came
I know
in.
which ones.
Oh, you do? Oh, then sure, then go away, talk about them. Talk about them.
Just if I could should spoil it.
Yeah, spoil it, talk about it, go for it.
So we have this clap, for instance, right? Yeah. And all these emotes, they can be interpreted how you want, depending on context, right? Yeah. So you can clap if they actually did something good. You can also clap if they did something bad, right? Yeah. Because that's funny. Yeah. Kind of tease them, right? And you just, right away when you played it, you just needed these ways of communicating. So that's basically why they're there in the first place. Yeah.
So for people that don't know, let's recap which ones are in. So we've got one that's called How Gracious, which is basically 47 blowing a kiss.
Yes.
Then we have one called The Well Done, which is the clapping, which is described as slightly ironic. So it can be perceived how you want it to be. Yes. Then we have The Evil Eye, which is basically, I'm looking at you. I see, I got you. And then we have one called The Disbelief, which is basically like a facepalm, head shake, meme action. So those are the 4 that are coming in Ghost Mode. And technically, how do you use them? How do you activate them?
Yeah, so right now, the implementation that we ended up with is that so usually you use the D-pad on controller, you use the D-pad right, left, both of them to open the inventory.
Yeah.
So what we did was take one of them to actually open the emote selection instead. Yeah. So the menu looks the same. It's the same kind of wheel in the bottom of the screen you open. So I think it's right, that's the inventory, and left is the emotes.
Yeah, that's what I've got here as well. So.
Yes, okay, good. But we acknowledge that some people actually, like, it is kind of 50-50 which people actually uses right or left to open the inventory, but funny enough, you always use the same one to open the inventory. Yeah. So we added a menu option to swap those around, so you can swap the emotes to the right and inventory to left if you want to. Yeah. To make sure it shouldn't be too disruptive for normal play.
To make sure you're not rushing to get your silver baller and you start clapping.
Yeah, exactly.
And you also have to activate the emote.
Yeah, so you go into the emote selection screen and then you can choose browse through the wheel as you do in the item inventory, and then you press X or button face
selection button, whatever it is. So it's not like you have to choose one emote in the loadout. When you're in ghost mode, you can choose to clap, you can facepalm.
All four are available at all times, basically.
Perfect.
And you will, when you select it in game, you will start doing the animation, and you can just walk to get out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not locked into it.
No, you're not locked. It's fairly free.
Yeah. Cool. So those are the emotes. Next is ghost mode items.
Yes.
We've got 4 new ghost mode items. I think people can see them now. I'll just quickly recap them so that we kind of keep up and on the same page. We have a freeze grenade. We have an outfit manipulator. We have a proximity explosive. And we have a flash grenade. 4 new items that are all ghost items, which means that they will impact your opponent's world. So let's take them one by one and talk a little bit about each one. Yeah. Just to clear up what does what. So the freeze grenade is quite self-explanatory.
Yes, it limits the other player. If it hits the other player, so you throw it and it enters the other world, and if it hits the other player, he will be quote-unquote slowed down, which means he won't be able to run. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we have the proximity explosive, which is the first time you can actually like kill your opponent, basically, in ghost mode.
You can kill your opponent, and it only reacts to the opponent, not any NPC in the other world.
Okay,
as far as I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And then there's the flash grenade, which again is relatively simple to understand.
If you're if the other opponent is in the area of the activation, then he will be flashed.
Okay, and then the one that I think is the most interesting, that's why I saved it till last, the outfit manipulator.
Oh yes.
Which basically.
So that works in both worlds.
Yeah, that's why I think it's cool, because it's kind of risk reward that you've got to be ready to use it, and you might be desperate to change your opponent's disguise, and you don't know what that's going to do to you.
Nope.
But I do have a question. So what happens is you trigger it, and then your disguise changes, and your opponent's disguise changes.
Yes.
Is it to the same disguise, or can the disguises be different? Do you know? Do you know?
I think actually we changed the design along the way, and I wasn't actually part of production, so I can't remember what it actually ended up with.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's the same disguise, but it's random.
Okay, I think in the trailers, Clemens, maybe you know this. When you trigger the outfit manipulator, do you get the same disguise as your opponent, or can it be randomized?
It's random.
So I can be a chef and you can become the sheikh, whatever.
That's different. So dangerous to play with.
So it can be different. Okay, so as far as Clemens knows,
my bad.
As far as I know.
As far as Clemens knows, then we know it might shift. Yeah. Okay, so that really could. I mean, it could also help your opponent. You don't know. You might take them out of a trespassing outfit. You've no idea. Okay, I really like that one. Okay, the next thing. Don't want to just read the patch notes, but ghost mode is the focus. There's a lot going on.
That's cool.
We have kind of teased it last month, and it's on the April roadmap image, the new suit. So we have the Phantom suit.
Yes.
I don't think we've named it yet. Is that the first time? Phantom. So it's called the Phantom Assassin Challenge. That's been added to ghost mode. And you unlock it by eliminating 100 targets in ghost mode on any location. Just the information I have. So that's cool. That's about 20 matches.
Yeah, if you win them.
If you win
them. But it's basically also, I guess you can actually get points and then reduce your own points and get more points.
Of course.
The idea is that it seems like a lot of hits, but the idea is to not emphasize you winning, but more eliminating. So even though you're behind, you can still you can progress in some other part of the game, like this challenge, for instance.
For sure.
Still even though you're behind, you don't have to quit or anything. You can actually just try your luck. Maybe you win, or at least you progress your challenge towards the Phantom suit.
I know there's a lot of completionists out there thinking, oh my goodness, another challenge for Ghost Mode. But I have good news, because we've made a new category for Ghost Mode challenges. So in the menu, they have been separated from Miami. So if you have done all the challenges in Miami, that will sit at 100%. And if you don't want to look at Ghost Mode, that's fine. It's not fine, you should. But for the challenges, that's okay. It will be separated. Quite a lot of people have been asking for that. That I've done some of Ghost Mode, tried it. It's not for them, but their percentages are skewed, kind of, even though they've done all of Miami. Like, I know if you've done all of Miami challenges, you want to see that 100%, right? You want it there, I get that. So now it will be there. Just a small note. More Ghost Mode. 2 more things, really cool things. First one, target variation.
Yeah, that was asked for too.
Yeah?
By the community.
A lot of these things are, the next one definitely is as well. So, as far as I have seen, there is now 5 Ghost Mode targets that are different, but kind of keep the same style.
Yes, they're still white.
White and blue sort of clothing and a hat or a
And that's the original one and 4 new ones. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we have, I think that just keeps it fresh. It keeps it interesting when you are looking for, you're not just looking for Mr. Target or he was called something. He had a fun, his name was a pun. It was something Chase, I think. Target, Mark? No, Mark. Mark Chase, as in Mark and Chase the target. I'm sure there was a pun there somewhere. And one thing to mention is that they all consider the target. So they might have different names, I don't know. But if you're after the Phantom suit, just kill 100 of them. Yes, doesn't matter what they look like, just kill them. Cool, target variation. I really like that. Yes. I think it was one of the surprise. I didn't know about that. It wasn't in the video that we had. So we talked about the items and the emotes.
That's one of the things. I saw that
and was like, yes, that's so cool.
Yeah, but that's some of the things that you don't see when you just internally play. So it's like the emotes were some of the things that we realized it right away, like in our first match almost, right? Saying, okay, I need a way to communicate with you, right? But the target variation wasn't really high on our radar at all. No. We thought a little about it, but didn't think it was actually important. And then the community came. We won.
Yeah. More targets. Fed up with this guy. Killed him already.
We'll give you some.
More community requests. So you can rematch in Ghost Mode.
Yeah.
So you get to the end of the match and you can just hit go again with the same player if it was a close game, or if you want a rematch. There's not much to say about it, but I think it will go a long way to kind of enjoying Ghost Mode.
It's one of the things we actually talked a bit about before releasing it, if we wanted it or not. And it's great to see community coming at it and saying we actually want it. I think I was actually one of the advocates for not having it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's was also just recently because you analyze a lot of other games, what they do in matchmaking and whatnot, these kind of things. And we already have the invite a friend option, which some games doesn't have, right? So that's one way to play a match against somebody you know, which probably is the funnier rematch in my world at least. But obviously, yes, if people want to rematch whatever opponent they had, if it was a good game, of course, it's a fun rematch. Right? So they should have that option.
So that's in as well. So to recap, new Ghost Mode location, emotes for Ghost Mode on both locations. I think we should just be clear that the items as well, both locations. Ghost Mode incorporates now Miami and Santa Fortuna. Plus the, I said emotes, I said items, target variation, rematch, and Ghost Mode challenges slightly separated. There's also a lot of things changed in Ghost Mode, smaller things, small little updates, like when you're in your inventory now, ghost items will be easier to see for various reasons. We fixed a few bugs there, a few new sound effects, and the whole thing with the inventory that you mentioned already. Yes. The D-pad flipping. How does that work on PC, by the way, the emotes?
On PC it has a unique key, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'm nodding. Yes, that's what I have as well.
I'm pretty sure.
That you can bind.
I can't remember which key.
There's an emotes key, and then you can bind it. I think it's E. No,
it can't be. It might be
either
beside
way.
R. I think it's beside
but Y. You can also change it. Like you can choose what you want for it, as far as I saw. So that's been thought of as well. Of course.
I'm pretty sure it's Y or U.
Okay. Not E though. What's E? What's E for you?
It's for me.
Yeah. People have different bindings.
I'm using default.
Yeah.
But E is.
So what's E?
I think it's use.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Remember, it's open doors, but I can't remember what.
When you are playing internally, though, you have a controller, right?
What?
You're a PC guy, but when you're testing and stuff, you use a controller, right?
Yeah.
So your button prompts are in your head.
Actually, on PC, I'm also playing a controller this game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Also at home. That's what I want to say, not just on here.
Okay. So we talked Ghost Mode. We are still talking game update. I think it's probably a cool thing to talk about for people that came late, that we are kind of going through the game update for April, just going through some of the key parts, talking about Ghost Mode that's getting updated, and the next thing that's been waiting for a long time from players is Silent Assassin.
Mm-hmm.
The Silent Assassin scoring and the tracker and a few other small bugs have been fixed. We're finally happy. We have got to a point where we've kind of considered these final rules. We've been up and down a few months, but maybe we go way back.
I think
let's go in the time machine back to
I think
I'm pre-launch.
I'm one of the happiest guys that this is actually getting out.
All right, tell us why.
Because I was here on stream.
Yeah.
I think it was November, maybe late October. I can't remember.
It was pre-launch. Remember, we did
pre-launch.
Answer all the. Let's get all the questions you've got about Hitman 2. Throw them
Silent
at you.
Assassin, one of the questions. Yes.
Go for it.
And
what
I was
did you say?
Yeah, of course we fixed it. But we didn't actually fix it.
And this was the target thing, right?
Because there was the target, recognizing you, but then you killing the target, and that would still fail Silent Assassin.
So you promised that.
I promised that we fixed it for launch.
Yes.
Which we didn't.
No.
That was a stupid promise. So the team they rallied for me and actually fixed it a few weeks later or something like that.
Yeah, it came shortly after launch. Yeah.
But it wasn't a full fix, and
and it brought some issues.
And it brought issues. With
it did. And let's be honest about that. Some people would be harsh in the words they use, I would say, but it made the game, it made Silent Assassin a lot easier to get. That's a fact. Whichever way you look at it, it made it a lot easier. And I think the feedback in the sense that if you look at the perspective of someone who wants Silent Assassin to be hard, something to aim for, and sort of like that's the pinnacle, that's what you're aiming for. The unintended effect of the change we put in kind of took that away. Yeah. You could run through enforcers seeing you didn't really do anything. You could be seen trespassing. That didn't affect Silent Assassin, and basically we weren't happy with that. No. So we took the time to go back and finalize it. Right?
It is a design process here, right? Because it's always about what seems plausible to ruin your Silent Assassin, right? In the real world, because we are simulating a lot of the real world reactions here, or we try to at least, right? Come close to it. So if I'm trespassing somewhere and there's a guy seeing me and say, you can't be here, and just walking out again, then what commotion did I actually start? I didn't really start anything, right? So there's an argument about, does that actually fail Silent Assassin, or does it not, right?
For sure.
And that the first fix brought in the issue that would not fail Silent Assassin, right?
Yes,
but now we agreed, okay, it should still fail Silent Assassin. So yeah, but there's still there could be back and forth on these.
And there was right? There was discussion in the forum, especially on that issue. So when the game launched, if you were caught trespassing, you lost your Silent Assassin. And then we made the change with the target knowledge, and then that brought some bugs to light. It changed a few things that was unintended at that time, but it started a discussion internally, and I saw it on the forums too. People were saying the same thing you just said. If you get seen trespassing and then you calmly follow the guy out. You could argue, and there's some logic to the fact that that's fine, but that wasn't how it was, and there was a big discussion about it. Which sometimes when there's a discussion, it kind of tells you it's not completely wrong, because there's two sides to the coin. So essentially, we've landed on what we now have as what I've written here in the release notes as finalized. This is what we've decided on, right? So I want to go through them a little bit. This does get a little bit. It's quite deep. But I think it's important. I think a lot of people have been talking about it. And I think even if people are maybe not playing Hitman on this level, it's quite interesting to hear the sort of decisions and where we sort of land. So basically now the mission scoring has the same parameters it had at launch. Which is you complete your objectives, you get 20k. You were never spotted, you get 20k. There were no noticed kills, you get 20k. No bodies are found, 20k. And there's no recordings, 20k. That gives you 100. Yeah, quick maths. Then there's the non-target kill penalty. So if you kill anyone who's not a target, you lose points.
And Silent Assassin.
And your Silent Assassin, for sure. And then on top of that, there's the time bonus, which calculates the score. That's how you get different scores. That's how it works as of tomorrow, when the patch hits. There's a small change there, because we've gone back to never spotted For a short period, that was never compromised, which was a short-term fix to make sure that the changes we had unintendedly made actually were communicated properly.
Yes.
So now we've changed that back to never spotted. And it's quite simple. I'm trying to simplify what's not the simplest thing that's gone through. So if you want to get Silent Assassin now, in any mission, you've got to complete all your objectives and exit the mission. That's obvious. But there's 7 things that can happen that will take away your Silent Assassin. If the NPCs get to the compromised state, Silent Assassin is gone. If NPCs escalate to the suspicious state, it's gone. If an NPC catches 47 trespassing, it's gone. If a body gets found, either a dead body or a pacified body, it's gone. Accident kills and poison kills are okay in that regard. You will still say body found, but it doesn't. You still get Silent Assassin. If 47 is spotted performing an illegal or suspicious action through a camera, meaning there's actually a guard watching the camera, it's gone. However, if there's no guard watching the camera feed, he still gets recorded. Delete the evidence, Silent Assassin is fine. Cool. Then, if you get recorded by a camera but don't destroy the evidence, Silent Assassin is gone. And if you kill a non-target, no shit, Silent Assassin is gone. However, one final note, which I think you're going to say. Last thing, just to wrap that up. Maybe. For 1 to 5 in that list,
exactly.
If the NPC, this is music to your ears, if the NPC that sees that or escalates or sees you trespassing is the target, and no one else learns about it, so the target doesn't get a chance to tell anyone, etc., you still get Silent Assassin. That's it. That's it. We can move on. Congratulations, team. Well done.
Perfect.
I hope everyone is happy. Those are the rules that will be in place as of tomorrow. And I obviously didn't just make this up. I talked it through with the team and figured out how to write it in the best way. And the ambition behind this is to return Silent Assassin to being that pinnacle accomplishment.
Former glory.
It should be hard. It should be something to aspire to. And it should be difficult to achieve.
Yes.
And basically what this does is...
But still reasonable. Like,
yes.
Makes sense, right?
Yes. What this does is kind of makes it so, imagine way back, we implement the change for the target knowledge, and everything carries on.
Yes.
Almost there. I think the addition is the suspicious state. I think at launch, if an NPC was suspicious, you could still get Silent Assassin. Now you can't. You can quote me on it because I've said it, but don't quote me on it at the same time. I think that's the only difference. I think everything else is as it was at launch. We'll have discussion. I'm sure there'll be feedback. I'm sure the chat is lighting up all over the place. But this is in stone. That's what's happening tomorrow, and then we go forward from there. So how do you feel about the target knowledge finally being there with everything else working at the same time?
I'm loving it.
Yes. I think there should be a special mention alongside the teams working on Ghost Mode, and you know, a lot of people were involved with this. Yeah. It's not just me sat here reading it. There was a lot of discussions and meeting. I don't want to make it out like it took us months to figure it out, but it takes time to implement it. It takes time to test it. Yeah. You know, we've got to make sure it's right, because we tried to change something before, it didn't work. Yeah. Things happened, and as far as we can tell through lots of testing, there was lots of issues that I saw during the release notes that are not in the release notes, because we don't put things that are fixed that are not public facing, that were around Silent Assassin, about this has changed to this, and we need to update that and make sure this is there. So I think, based on all of that, it's in a good place. I'm happy.
And credit goes where credits do. Like
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I promised the bad thing, and I did the mistake, and there's actually somebody else producing the correct implementation. So.
Okay, so that's the scoring part of it.
Cecil did the design thing, actually.
Absolutely.
Which is coming
next month.
Yeah.
So, Silent Assassin Tracker, that's also it. That's a little bit simpler to explain. Yeah. So there's a little icon at the bottom of your screen. Yes. Some people already saw it accidentally. Stuff comes out, stuff shouldn't come out. If it's green, you've got Silent Assassin. Yes. If it goes red, you don't currently.
Exactly.
Because if you get recorded by a camera, it goes red. Then you've got to delete the evidence, it goes green.
So sometimes there's a way to reverse it back.
Yes, but not always. No, and this was definitely, I remember I tweeted it. I was kind of like you. I saw it was being worked on, and someone tweeted us saying, "Is there any way to have a Silent Assassin tracker?" And I was like, something like, "Yeah, we're on it," or something. And then I think I got a message from someone in the team like, "Do you know when this is coming out? Like, we're doing it, we're working on it, sure." But then some people took that to be like, "Oh, next update." And I think every update since it's been, "Where's the tracker?" And then it went out and it wasn't supposed to. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's there, Silent Assassin tracker. One more thing, Silent Assassin. One more thing. There's been a long time where if you exit the mission too quick, it hasn't had chance to register that the kill was unnoticed, and you wouldn't get Silent Assassin. We fixed that.
Okay.
Now,
that was a bug.
Now you can. I don't know. I don't know if it was a bug or it was just the scoring system had a rule that when someone's dead, it needs to register whether the kill was unnoticed.
Okay.
But if you left before it could register it, it thought it was noticed. So it didn't give you the unnoticed bonus, which meant you didn't get the scores. A lot of work went into that. And I say that because it's not simple just to change it. A lot of different things had to change and whatever. That's also changed. Awesome. Lots of cool stuff. Sense check on chat, on the scoring. Happy?
And asking.
Okay, I'm sure there will be questions. This is why we do it. All right. So that's
It's just people like praising and like talking about.
Okay.
Oh, this is great.
Praising and saying, "Oh my God, this is great, fantastic." That's what we're hoping for. I'm also looking through pages of fixes. There's a few various things in there. I'm not going to go through them all. We've talked a lot about Ghost Mode. We talked a lot about Silent Assassin. I think those are the two important things to share. The full document, this whole thing, will be out. Not this whole thing. This is just an empty notepad at the end. Out today. Later today, people can read through all of this. They can make up their own minds about it. Start the feedback rounds. So. Let's go on to the next point on our agenda, which is the 2019 content highlights. You've seen this image.
Yes.
Everybody and their dog has got an opinion on this image.
Yes, of course.
So we've been working on this image in marketing. I think special shout out to Jeppe is due. This for me is Jeppe's roadmap. We specifically called it content highlights to avoid having roadmap because we have monthly roadmaps. We didn't want to confuse everything. And I think it's fair to say that it's looked different. It's changed a lot. Things have been updated and changed, and there's been names for things. And funny story, what you were saying before about you were against, I think, rematch. You said maybe not have a rematch. Riding the bank, the prison, and the resort. I think I went up and down about 4 or 5 times. First of all, I was like, we've got to tell people what's coming. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a little, like an image. Then I saw it and was like, is that too much? Is that too much? What happens when we want to talk about the bank? People already know a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly. I know, and I've seen it. People are zooming in on the map and like, who's that and whatever.
10 out of 10 wood roadmap again.
Yeah. Is that from Jeppe?
No, that's from Cham, the chest.
Okay, 10 out of 10 wood roadmap again.
Good name.
So this is not a roadmap. This is the Hitman 2 2019 content highlights. So our ambition for this, I don't know how much of this you know, was basically to show just some, that's why it says more to come at the top, just some of the, I say content, sometimes that's a horrible word, but some of the content that's coming to Hitman 2 this year. And a big part of that is what's in the expansion pass. Yes. People have been asking for that for a little while, and when we released Hantu Port, we had always planned briefly afterwards to release this, so people knew there was a whole lot more in the expansion pass. Didn't come as quick as we wanted, so we got a lot of, is it just sniper maps? I bought my expansion pass and got one sniper map, what the hell? No, the hell. There is all sorts more coming, as you can see here. So Hantu Port we talked about, El Matador people have already had a chance to get, and there's the flamingo costume, the blue flamingo suit, I think is the official name. He or she is coming tomorrow.
Okay, that's
so with the game update, the Spring Break Challenge Pack is out, and you can unlock the blue flamingo suit. That's the information I currently have. All of the information is what I currently have. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, I'll redirect my emails to somebody else. That's what I know. Oh, that's cool. That's what I've been told.
When you're deep in the trenches of producing, like I normally, then I don't actually have a grasp of the dates of anything, right? It's just
I used to be quite good at it, and then I got super confused between having the April roadmap, and then which includes the April game update, and then we do the April stream, which looks back on April but looks ahead to May, and then we shortly release the May roadmap, and I'm like, what month is it? What is it? And we have the patch that comes out towards the end of the month, and it's all just like May, April, what is it? I'm always double checking what I have. So we'll give you a quick look at the blue flamingo suit, and then we'll jump back to the content highlights. So this is what the blue flamingo suit looks like, and this will function as a suit, not as the flamingo mascot in Miami. So if you're in Miami wearing this suit, you might as well have your red tie on. You can't do the dance. And as far as I know, yes, you're blue. for things like opportunities and things like that, that's why we have it. You're wearing a suit. So if you want to do those things, you'll still need to change into the flamingo mascot, as far as I know. Everything ends with as far as I know. So let's jump back to the content highlights. That's dropping tomorrow. Spring Break leg, blue flamingo suit. And we have ghost mode in Santa Fortuna. And this is another thing. The themes that we have at the bottom. We got a lot of questions. We'll kind of transition into questions. We got a lot of questions about what are the themes. I think the question from Kevin Rudd on Hitman Forum was, what are the season themes exactly? So here it is. The season themes exactly are actually monthly. So we wanted this roadmap to be spring, summer, and then fall to kind of show the seasons and show roughly when things will drop. We went a long time back and forth between dates. So we had themes, which are going to be monthly. So the May roadmap, the theme for May is Spring Break. Later down the line, throughout the year, we will have Jungle Summer, the Rivals, and Halloween. There will also be more. So each month will have a theme. And the idea behind it is, as you will see with the content in May, we will have, Clement's laughing at something happening in chat, we will have content that wraps around the theme. So Spring Break includes the Spring Break Challenge Pack. It includes, it's linked towards the Featured Contracts theme. Some of the content that releases will wrap around it. And that will become more evident. The themes will become stronger as we go through the months. We've looked at the content we want to make, what we've already got, and gone, okay, Jungle Summer, that fits this. These things can work around that. So that's what the themes are. That's one thing I wanted to specifically mention there. Other things, I have questions, but I'm curious what you think about the roadmap, about releasing this information soon. And we've got about 10 minutes left. I'm looking at the clock, 4:43. Not to rush, but just to be.
I think it's pretty vital. I think one of the big questions I also myself had actually.
Yeah, shoot.
Is if I bought the gold edition, right?
Yeah.
What would I actually get here?
Yeah.
Also because we don't. Some games release these DLCs as one package, right? You get and it releases this date, and you get everything there, right? But we have these staggered content releases of whatever is in the first expansion pack, right?
Yep.
So it could be a little unclear what you're actually getting at one point.
Yeah. And now it should be very clear.
When it's color-coded and stuff, it's good.
Yeah, as I said, that was part of the reason for putting it out. People saying, what's in my expansion pass?
Yeah, exactly.
And we provided this image. I say we. Again, thank you, Jebbe. More questions that I just want to go through, not necessarily directed at you, but I have some pre-selected questions, and then Clemens is going to throw some questions at us from chat that are coming in. So there was a question that I saw on Discord from Warner Brother 5, who asked whether the bank and the resort will have their own soundtracks. So I asked the game's composer, Niels, and his reply was, and I quote, "Yes, they sure will." So there you go. Good. New scores, not necessarily soundtracks, but new scores. Basically the sort of, if you think of Miami, it has its own music. If you think of Isle of Scale, it has its own music. The same is the true for the bank and the resort, yes. We talked about the themes. An interesting one that maybe you can kind of talk about is Silent Wraith on Hitman Forum was asking if there will ever be sandbox variants of the Sniper Assassin maps. And I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Yeah, currently there's no plan.
The interesting answer is why. Maybe you can talk about that better than I can. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's also a level design specific question, but they are very specifically designed to work from that angle of view, basically.
Yeah.
So the setup that's there would never work, and even the geometry there would probably never work in a sandbox environment. We would definitely build it in the other way.
Yeah.
We could probably use some of the geometry to build other levels, but the way it's already built there would never work really. We would want to change a bunch of things so we could probably more easily do a different map in the same theme, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, that is the sandbox version of it.
I think it's kind of kudos to the environment teams and the level designers that kind of they make these sniper maps that people want to run around, like the mansion in Himmelstein. I'd love to go there and just kind of hiding and dodging around the Hantu port.
Oh,
that would be super cool.
It looks like an inviting sandbox.
Exactly, right?
Want to go,
right?
The time could be there. I can go this way.
But they're just not built that way.
No, they wouldn't really work in the way they're set up right now. Yeah.
There's tricks of things that... There's stuff you can't see, and you can't see it for a reason.
Yeah. You talked to level designers before on stream, right?
For sure.
I think like the level design in Hitman levels are really top of the pop, right? And there's a lot of hours going into designing the ins and outs and routes of every single map, and and just porting it from one type of one game mode to another would never work to the quality we wanted at least.
And I would imagine that if we, let's say, a future sniper map that doesn't exist yet, if we were to try and develop it so that it worked as a sniper map and a sandbox map, it would compromise each other. It wouldn't be a good sniper map, and it wouldn't be a good sandbox map. It would just not work, right? Or it would take forever longer, potentially.
As I already know from the forums and Reddit, I know the community imagined this too, and we have like levels where one is a sniper and one is running around down there, right?
That would be cool.
And so we are thinking about it as the community is, but it is very hard, and you are putting constraints on yourself if you're designing for two things, no matter what it is, right? Yeah. If you want everything to work, every game mode to work in one setting, you are putting restraints on all the settings it needs to work for.
Yeah.
So it can, theoretically, it can never be as good as just designing for one of the situations.
I think that's the right word for it, constraints, right? Yeah. That potentially it wouldn't be as good as if it was. I would assume so.
There's a chance it will be very good still, right? And it may be good enough, but it's hard to say.
So
we haven't tried yet.
No. Leading on from that, there was another question. Clemens, feel free to throw ones on the screen for us to take a look at if there's ones, so we can kind of mix and match between live questions, so to speak, and pre-recorded while I go for this one here. This was actually a question that I had, and I knew it was coming. As soon as we put out Hantu Port, I knew it was coming. People saying, that sniper rifle I got in Hantu Port, I want it. I want it in Miami. So what we're doing is we took that feedback on board, and we've obviously released that revealed that the next map is going to be the prison, the next sniper assassin map, and we're looking at ways to get 47's rifle from the prison as an unlock.
That will unlock.
Yeah, so that you can use it. It's not a promise, but I just think it's important to say that we're seeing the feedback and we're looking at what we can do with it. Looking backwards, that's less likely to happen. So the Hantu Port sniper is probably going to stay in Hantu Port, as far as I know.
Probably yes.
But looking forward, it's likely. Maybe you know something more than I do. I can see from your eyes that you do.
You said didn't promise, and now I don't want to promise either because I've already promised way more. But I literally myself put in the unlock for the prison, so I'm pretty sure it's unlocking.
So you're pretty sure that the rifle 47 uses in the prison will become an unlock you can take to other locations?
Yes.
You're pretty sure? Okay. Yeah. Okay. See,
but you cannot take it into co-op mode in the prison. It's a special rifle that you unlock for normal gameplay.
Completely right. So if you play the prison and you play as 47 in Sniper Assassin, you use a certain rifle. If you play multiplayer in Sniper Assassin, you play as Stone or Knight with their rifle.
Yes.
And it's 47's rifle, which we haven't said what it is yet, but people will find out soon enough, that you have personally set the unlock for to be in there. So there we go. Reveal that I wasn't even expecting. I was just expecting I asked.
But I probably promised too much already.
I asked and I was told that we will try and make it happen. So apparently somebody talked to you and you made it happen. So there we go.
There was other people too, but yes.
Yeah, of course. But you're just here to deliver the good news. So there we go. Another reveal. Boom. Tick them off. Grim Groove on Reddit wants to know whether they can delete their own contracts. Right now you can't, but I know that the team are aware of the feedback. Okay. And that's a very much no promise. That's not like a haha, it's coming. Just, I remember we did.
Yes, you can't do it.
We did a thing after Hitman 1. We did what did I call it? Focused feedback on contracts mode. And one of the things that comes up quite often is, can you delete contracts? So we know people want it, but don't have any update on that today. I'm looking at questions here. So let's go to some of the live questions. I don't know who they're from, but we'll roll with it. Emotes in single player? Right now, no.
No.
Simple. The outfit manipulator. Does that affect people running suit only? I guess so.
Yes,
it changes your disguise.
Yes.
Or it changes your suit.
So you can be manipulated by the opponent.
Because it's not called a disguise manipulator, it's called an outfit manipulator, and your suit is technically an outfit.
Yeah.
That's the logic I'm trying to find with it. So
they can screw with your suit only one.
So I guess they can, yes.
Yes.
I guess if you are going for challenges, then you find a friend, you invite, you agree not to use that item, you go for your suit only that way. That would be my advice, if that's some of the subtext behind it. There's a request for Mendy vs. Clements Part 2. I think that's coming from Clements, who's looking for revenge.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
He's protesting, but I think it was. So this was when we did a Ghost Mode live stream.
Yes.
I'm sure those two can set it up in their own time, or we can do more Ghost Mode streams. I think it would be cool to have more members of the team, rather than Clements, who so far has let us down, let's be honest. Representing on Ghost Mode. Let's get some of the designers in. Let's school a few people on how to play Ghost Mode. I know a few people. I know Morten. Morten would be pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he would be. I would be putting money behind him if he was if he was playing Ghost Mode. Okay, specific menu stuff. Can you add an option to go directly to the contracts menu from the results screen after finishing a contract? I would have to ask the relevant people. I think that's something we'll take to the team. That's the whole
Good
point.
Feedback.
I would also like to say that that one of the things we want to have from these streams is that it's a communication point that's direct, so that we can, just as on Twitter or Reddit every day, we can get feedback. So I'm sure if there's people from that team listening, they will know immediately whether it's possible, whether it's not. We'll ask. So ask us again if we don't give you an answer. There's a question about old sniper rifles. Will you buff old sniper rifles? Talking not about the Lancer, but the regular Jaeger 7. I guess we need to know what you want to buff. That could be anything. If they have new perks, or I think
it's not something we're thinking a lot about right now. We know some sniper rifles that are unlocked early are definitely not as good as the later unlocks, and that's intentional.
Yeah.
So the Jaeger 7 is one of the first ones unlocked.
Yeah, that's the one you get in Paris. I want to say,
and Miami, I think.
Yeah.
The Mark II one. Right?
Yeah.
And that is on purpose pretty bad.
Okay. It's on purpose pretty bad. Can you explain what
But
that,
it's just
what
not
that
as
might
good
mean?
as the later ones, because they
okay.
require more for you to invest more time to
For
unlock.
sure. Yeah. Okay, so
it is usable, right? But it's just not as good
I get you.
as several zoom levels.
I'm sure there's people that play it. I think there was one of the questions I read. I don't have it here, but there was about, I think it was actually the Jaeger 7, about wanting a silencer on it. A specific rifle that didn't have a silenced variant. So there's obviously some things like that maybe we could look at. Maybe one of the new rifles or an upcoming rifle is something like that. I don't know. I'm sure it's a very specific question.
And I don't want to spoil, right? We also new snipers that are coming out in prison and whatnot, right? So
of course they will.
Yeah. So
of course they will.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff in the future that on future streams we will talk about. We are very much trying to be, if there's stuff that's coming up in the next month or in the next few days, all gloves are off. Let's talk about those things a little bit earlier, but when we look months down the line, when we look down to the prison in fall, or autumn, as I should say as a British person, then we'll talk about that then, right? There's lots of conversations to have, and I'll take my PR hat off now. There's a question about the discovery bug. So this is people, when you discover locations and you get the little ping, discover Miami, there was something, there's a bug there that's tripping it up, the counter, so people can't get the progression on it. And I know some work was done on it, and I know Clement specifically has been talking to community members about getting information that we need to try and fix that. So it's very much on the radar, it's very much in the works. It just is going to take, I guess it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not there, and as far as I know, it's not in the game update. I might be surprised, but maybe I'll get there. One thing you touched on that I want to talk about, we talked about it earlier as well. You can probably guess where this is going. You mentioned the Jaeger 7, and it has MK2 variant.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a question about this. I think this was from Grim Groove as well, but there was a few people asking it. And simply it's, will you consider changing the MK2 weapon skins?
We have considered, and I think we want it. I think all people want it. It's a question of time and resources. But I think we definitely acknowledge that even though they are just mechanically copies of ones you can already unlock, which we talked about earlier, why we did, you would still want something that's visually more compelling no matter what, right? And you could actually have a good time with it if it would just stand a little out instead of this small, weird pink logo.
So just to kind of bring everybody in the loop, the reason that we have, regardless of the skin, the reason that we have the MK2 weapons is because of the Legacy Pack, right?
Yes, we have a Legacy Pack that you can play standalone, and we have new levels that you can play standalone, and there's a certain range of Hitman tools that we would want, or that we feel are so closely related to being a Hitman that we need people to get through progression no matter which part of the game they can actually play.
Yeah.
So they are both part of Legacy progression and new Hitman 2 location progression. And that's where the difference between the two things is then the 2 logo.
Yeah. So it's the name and the skin, as it were, the pink logo, the now infamous pink logo.
Yes, exactly.
But you're saying it's a matter of time and resources about how the MK2 is different. Right now it's got the sticker.
Yeah.
It could be something different. It's just a matter of getting around to doing it on top of all the other cool stuff that you make.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the long answer.
So yeah, from now on, it's like, do you guys want new things, right? Or do you want an upgrade to the stickers, or what do we actually want?
And I think it's important to say, like we've said 100 times, that while some things seem quite simple, it seems like a small thing. Take off the sticker, do something else. Yeah. That time and that investment is taken away from other things, which you can see on the content roadmap, and stuff that's not on there, and general bug fixing that's going into the updates, and all of the stuff that the various team members have to do.
Yes.
You have to have a list, which we also have we have producers that are helping make that list to simplify very much what is the most important thing.
Yeah. And now we've created ourselves a problem for ourselves by waiting so long, because now a new thing is just not like
it needs to be something.
Not just a new thing, right? It needs to actually hit the mark, right?
Yeah.
So,
hit the mark. I like what you did there. Yes. Okay, there's a few more questions, and then we'll land on one thing. So we do aim to go for an hour. We're on about an hour, but we started 5 minutes late, so we'll wrap through. No stress, no stress. I got a few more questions. One that you might be involved with, Clemens. Clemens, our community developer, who you might know from such videos as the April and upcoming May roadmap trailer, is our man in the van, as we've called him before, making sure everything's running. So if you've got audio problems, tell Clemens. Before that, though, this is from Alban3SE on Reddit, who I also know their username from Hitman Forum. Same questions appeared. Talking about the new locations, the bank and the resort, and contract mode. And as far as I know, that's being considered for them.
Yes, I'm pretty
Every
sure.
location has had contract mode, at least the base mission. I know some of the go-to missions don't have it. I know that they don't have it. But yes, I think it's safe to say you should expect contracts mode on the bank and the resort. Yes. And the question with Clemens was about featured contracts. Okay. So the question is, what is the process, and will there be a change? And usually when people ask for a change, it's because they don't like how it currently is. But I don't know what especially Alban3SE, Albanese, don't know how that's pronounced. So the process for featured contracts is, to try and summarize it, is that each month we look at the theme, we look at what, we try and give a general theme that's not too specific. We did it one time with, I think it was you unlocked something through featured contracts, the measuring tape. So we did like fiber wire kills, and then all the featured contracts were fiber wire only, and it didn't give much variation, and we learned a hard lesson, and we decided, even the one before, it was just to kind of theme it, but we got a bit too heavy with the theme, let's say. So then we tried to wrap it around, just keep the theme, but make it open. So we've previously had something like, I think in February, we were kind of going St. Patrick's Day, Luck of the Irish, we had like Murphy's Luck, Murphy's Law, sort of play on words with there, so you can kind of do accidents or non-accidents.
You can interpret it how you want.
Exactly. But we didn't call it Fiberwire Week, but it was something like that. Right. And it was like, okay, there's no room for maneuver here really, and you kind of want to match the theme, so you get featured. So we look at that and we try and come up with an open-ended theme that kind of matches the month. And then we usually give community, I think, 2 or 3 weeks to create them, to submit them. You send them to Hitman Forum, is usually where we have the thread. And then we go through them. If we find the time to play them, we play them. And then we pick 5 of the best, based on either location, so there's a variety there. So there's a variety of what they call kill conditions, variety of kill methods. So there's a little bit of a mix-up, but so they match the theme. We also sometimes look at the briefings and say maybe this is a cool briefing, and we go with that. So there is a process to it.
I accidentally took 2 contracts last time with the same targets.
Okay, so Clemens is saying that his bad. Apologies from Clemens for choosing contract last time with the same targets. Different kill conditions though?
Yeah.
But the same targets.
Same target.
Okay.
In both contracts.
Okay, so
They were somewhat different, but it was the same targets.
Okay, so variety-wise, last time there might have been some overlap, but that's the process. One thing we've actually done before, which I think would be really cool to bring back, and I know some players would like it as well, is that we did curated contracts, where we essentially ask a community member to pick out some of the contracts, maybe also from a theme this time, and give them the opportunity to say, hey, these are the best 5. And we kind of gave them an interview on the blog so people get to know who they are. We could look at bringing that back. That could be cool. I don't think we did it for Hitman 2 yet, but we could consider that. So, last question for you. Then we'll wrap. Last question.
Okay.
Can we expect items that have some new or unique gameplay possibilities? That came from Harold Holt, I think on Reddit from memory. But people have been asking, obviously, right? You're playing Hitman. The more cool stuff you've got, the cooler that is. So, you said at the beginning, unlocks. You said it, so I'm throwing it at you. Go.
So both Bank and Island will have new unlocks.
Okay.
Yes. And some of
cool.
No spoilers, right? But
nope.
Yeah, they will have things in them. Yes.
Yeah.
That can do stuff.
Is it fair to say they'll do stuff that you can't already do?
Yeah, like they are still part of the same mechanic ecosystem, but they work in slightly different ways.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, and that's coming with the bank and the resort/island. It's got many names. It's not got a locked name yet. You said island, we say resort. Everyone knows what it is. It's the nice looking image on the right hand side of the contracts, the content highlights. This is actually perfect. The last thing I have here is that, the bank and the resort, more specific questions, they will be coming, well, not questions. I'm sure there'll be more specific questions, but we'll also have more specific answers, more importantly, to throw your way. What we did last time, to wrap up, to end questions, unless there's absolutely anything burning in chat. Clemens hasn't thrown anything at us, so...
It's talking about the shirtless 47 in the swimsuit, so I think we're good.
47 in a swimsuit, okay. Maybe, let's see. So thanks to everyone that's thrown questions at us. We've tried to answer, I think we've answered a good amount. I think a lot of questions also probably got answered through the patch notes as well, about Ghost Mode, Silent Assassin. There's a lot going on, but there's more. There is more. So what we've done last month, and what we tried to do is we tried to look ahead. So we've talked about April. We've talked about the patch notes, which are in a few hours. So we're extending. So if we look a little bit further ahead, let's talk about the Deceivers. So, in May, we have a new type of elusive target, I want to say. So what we've done is, I say we, some very clever people on the team, what they've done is they've put together an elusive target that's called the Deceivers. And that is a legacy elusive target that combines 2 targets. So you play 1 mission, but there's 2 previously released elusive targets in Sapienza. So if we look at the 2 targets, we have, it's the Congressman and the other name escapes me. The Guru, yes. So the Congressman on the left, I think, was one of the first elusive targets in Sapienza. And the Guru was the 17th elusive target, I think, from memory. The numbers are better in my head than the names because we went through the numbers so many times. I think was he the 3rd elusive? No, we had to wait for Sapienza. Yeah, I think it was the 3rd. I'm going to say 3 and 17. Somebody will correct me. Anyway, these 2 are the Deceivers. They are both in Sapienza at the same time, doing their thing. There is a new briefing where you'll get some information about why they're there at the same time. And the elusive target counts towards your progression for unlocking suits. Only 1, because it's 1 contract, 1 mission. But they're both there in sunny Sapienza for you to find, for you to eliminate, and it's just like the other elusive targets that have had 2 targets. You need to kill them both, and you need to get out. But they're both doing their own thing. There's targets, there's routines, all of that stuff that you would expect. They are both there at once with a new briefing. The Guru, which is Richard McGee, and the Congressman, Anthony L. Trout, both there at the same time. Boom. New style of elusive target that's dropping. You'll find out the exact dates in the May roadmap, which is coming out early next week, alongside an awesome video with Clemens. And we're going to end on a high note. I want to say thank you to you, first of all.
Thank you to you.
For your time, for your answers, for your input, for your unlock, reveal, nuts. So yes, it's in there. Lots of new cool stuff coming. Thank you to you, Clemens, for taking the time to make all of this work. Fun behind the scenes story for you. We were getting we came in for the week. Was it last week? Last week, getting the room ready, everything. There was an operational error in the room where one of the wheels, when we were moving the table, fell, and the entire streaming setup just went on the floor. So Clemens has been working his ass off to get everything working up again.
Well done. With
the audio and the video, and basically just making sure there was a stream, because everything was on the floor. Damn. Literally, the table was like that. So yeah. So the fact that we're here, yes, very happy. And also everyone for watching. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for throwing your questions at us. Thank you for playing the game. Thank you for still playing the game, and being excited about what we've got to deliver. We will be back next month. You kind of mentioned it already with Cecil.
Yes.
Who regulars to the live stream will remember. She's been on live streams before, as have you now. You're getting closer to your veteran status.
Nice. What is the count for veteran?
Let's say 3.
Okay.
I don't know. We can come up with some rewards or like a top tier style scoreboard. We'll do it. Keep track. You're on 2. I don't know what I am. I'm like, I don't know, something way beyond veteran. It's old. I'm old. We will.
Thanks for making this an amazing game. Jesus says,
cool. Thanks. Thank you for the nice comments in chat. And we will be back, like we said, with Cecil next month on IOI Monthly episode 3. Until then, we'll be on the forums reading your feedback and basically releasing more cool stuff like the Deceivers, which you saw first on IOI Monthly. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.